Hi, guys. I'll wait and see who's going to pop in. Let me set this up now. Once you're in, say hello. I like to be very punctual. That's me. I have the winner for the worm giveaway. I'll say hi. Yep, it's working. I never know if I'm going to do this correct. Let me put the volume up here. There we go. Okay. Now, if someone comes on, maybe I could hear you. Hi. How are you? Hello from Tennessee. I love Tennessee. We like going to Gatlinburg. How are you all doing? We've had some crazy weather here. We've had some crazy weather here. We had a big ice storm. Hi, Danny. How are you? Wow, Vancouver Island. Ooh. Are you cold right now up there? Here we had an ice storm go by. And ice storms is usually forms like a couple of inches of ice, and then it'll snow on top of it. And, it's dangerous because the ice is underneath, and it's been like this for days. We've been stuck in here for days. Hi. Oh, I'm getting people from Canada. How are you? Anyone from Indiana? I've been to Pennsylvania several times. I love it there. I like traveling all over the place. When I did move to Indiana, though, from Texas, we drove here and I couldn't bring my worms with me and I had to give them away. I was so sad. I'm doing good. You're interested in commercial worm farming? Oh my, it's hard. It is hard, I will tell you. What's the best way to use for mass garbage composting? Windrows, outside windrows. A windrow, if you don't know what it is, look it up. It's like people do it with all kinds of things. It's like a long aisle of food, manure, grass, straw, and you just add to it and the worms come up. That's how the big commercial worm farmers do it. That's how they have like millions. They do it in windrows. And some people do it outside in the winter too. You just have to winterize your worms every winter. You have to layer them with like a lot of things like leaves and manure so they can have food and straw so they don't freeze. And then just cross your fingers because you never know. Got my Diet Coke. So you guys want to see something cool? Heather, she's a subscriber and she watches me. She sent me a gift. And that was so sweet. And I'm wearing it. So I want to show you. Look at my shirt. Isn't that cute? So happy mail. I love it. Daffodils in bloom. Oh, I love it. Last year in my garden, I grew a lot of calendula flowers. and they were so pretty, but they took forever to grow. I kept seeing this green plant, and I'm like, where's the flowers? It's never coming up. And then one day they just appeared, and it was like a lot of them, and they were everywhere. Really cute. Well, manure is going to smell in a windrow. It just is. Manure smells everywhere. But it's all about balance. Leachate is not good. It will produce leachate, but if you do the windrow, if you build it on the ground, it's going to sink into the earth and disappear. Like those towers that I use with the little spigot. If you have a tower like that or a bin with a spigot, if liquid comes out of it, that leachate, your bin is too wet. That stuff is toxic. People back in the day when I first started used to say that was worm tea. It is not. That is not worm tea. Worm tea is made with worm castings, and the way I do it is I bought a bubbler at the pet supply store, like a bubbler that you put in your fish tank. Really cheap. It's like a stone with a clear tube and a little motor. And when I make my compost tea, I put that in there and it aerates it for like 2 or 3 days, and then it's ready to use. If you don't have a bubbler or you don't want to buy one, you can do it with just mix it with a stick. But you got to do it every day. If not, it'll get really gross. Yeah, leachate's very toxic. So yeah, back in the day, we thought that we could use all that, and no. Compost tea too. If you spray it on all your garden plants, it creates like kind of like a coating on the plants, and it prevents certain predator bugs to come and eat your stuff. I've seen that happen. There's a guy, I don't know if he's still on YouTube, in Alaska, and he did that, and his cabbages would like never have holes in them. So I'm gonna probably try that this summer now that I have a little more time to make it. So no, I don't have holes in my bins either, because I've just learned how to regulate the moisture. But my towers, they have a little spigot. And when I first started with my towers, like 20 years ago, my first worm factory, I would pour water on the top of it, and that stuff would just pour out. And, listen, it's a miracle I didn't drown my worms. But yeah, it was too wet. It was too wet. I don't know. I don't know if it'll affect the groundwater. I mean, if you build windrows, it's because you have land. And if you have land and there's like no neighbors around you, I don't think it'll do anything. I'm going to build windrow this summer in my garden. Probably two of them. I think we're going to do it with cinder blocks. I haven't decided yet. That's like a plan I'm still working on. I don't want to just wing it. I want to make sure that we do it the right way, and because I'm going to invest in it, so I don't want to lose money. But it's a gamble, and worm farming is a dirty, dirty job. Don't ever think it's clean, because it is not. And I clean in here often, and I Swiffer the floor, and I sweep and stuff, and I still sometimes I can't keep up. But that's part of it. So it's okay. I love it. Sometimes I use gloves. Sometimes I don't. I just stick my hand in there. I don't care what's in there. So I have some European nightcrawlers with me over here, and they're doing well. And I'm gonna feed them some. I have some banana skins today, and I have some leftover greens that just went bad in the fridge and nobody ate them. And even though they're breeders, I still give them some kitchen scraps once in a while. They're not only on chow. A lot of worm farmers, commercial ones, would just give them chow. And I like to diverse their diet a little bit. I don't want to do that to them. How you doing? Y'all doing okay? I love Diet Coke. People say, she's always with a Diet Coke. Yeah, I love it. Have y'all seen my website, thegardenandwormlady.com? Let me tell you, that was an adventure, that website. I hadn't built a website in like 12 years. and I used a different platform, and I didn't know how advanced it had gotten. So I did it from scratch, and it took me forever. And my gosh, did I make mistakes? I would have like the add to cart button. It's supposed to be for the red wigglers. I would have it on the European nightcrawlers. It was all mixed up. It was such a disaster until I finally figured out the platform wanted to charge me. I think it was $100 an hour to build it for me, and I'm like, no way, I can invest that money in my business another way, not like that. So I did it. So check it out, and I don't know, you might find a mistake here and there, but it was challenging. It was challenging. European nightcrawlers, they like when my breeder bins, I keep them more on the moist side than like my towers, the ones that I play with. They like it like that, but you can't oversaturate it because worms breathe through their skin and they'll drown. No, they can't be in hydroponics or aquaponics, like in sit in water, like put them in there. No, 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 no. They will drown. But the breeder bins, I do keep them a little on the moist side. I noticed that when the bedding is more moist, there's more activity. There just is. Hi, Michael. Yeah, they like it. We did have the ice storm here, and in this room it got a little colder than what I like. It hit like 63 in here, so I had to go up there and like reopen the heat vent a lot more, and it's getting better in here now because it hit like 2 degrees outside, and I'm in a basement. Even though this is the wormery, it's part of my basement. So but the worms are okay. The worms are doing good. So how are your worms doing? If any, is anyone trying anything new? You saw my last video with that stuff. Frabil, fat and sassy. I don't know about this stuff. I don't know. I just started using it. Like I can't have an opinion yet, but I don't know. It smells to me like cornmeal and sawdust. And I think it has sawdust in it because I see like these little stick things. But I gave some to the swamp worms. And remember yesterday the video? And today I lifted the cover and I do see some of them in it. So I don't know. You were told that European nightcrawlers could survive. I don't know. I mean, give it a try. I wouldn't try with a whole bunch of them so you don't lose like a lot of money in them. But if you want to try with a handful and just see what happens, hey, you never know. I've never seen it done, but again, things are advancing, and I'm also learning new things. Even though I've been at this for a while, I still learn new things every day. I don't know what worm would be good for that. I know that the African night crawlers, they like it moist also, but they like heat. They're very cold sensitive. Um, I have a guy who watches Paul. He bought some African night crawlers, and I'm waiting to ship them because I just don't want them to die. They're so delicate. They do very well in the south. My breeder bins, it's maintenance basically. Once you set them up, you just got to make sure that they remain moist. And once you see the food gone, then you can feed them again. If you still see food in there, come back like 2 days later. Don't overfeed them because it can go sour. And have you ever smelled a sour bin? It is horrible. I have because I've made the mistake of doing that. What the heck was that? Ew, I don't know. Yeah, it can go sour. Another thing is food, like the dry food. Sometimes if you mix it in too much and you wet it too much, it can go sour too. So I'm very careful. My neighbor next door is watching. Her name is Jennifer. I'm trying to get her to be a guest on the channel. So maybe this summer we'll get her outside and she'll come and be a guest. Yeah. Hey, I might have ghosts in here. I don't know. I always told my family that if I find out there's ghosts in here, I'm just going to give them a rag and tell them to get clean. And I'm not afraid of things like that. And I grew up Cuban. My family's so superstitious, it's ridiculous. They're like, you can't open an umbrella inside the house. I'm like, oh, come on. There she is, Miss Jennifer. So, the breeder bins, people think that it takes me a long time to tend to them. It really doesn't because I have a routine down. I just start at the top and I work my way down. Moisten, feed, cover, keep going. I don't mix them all the time because breeder worms, when you mix their bedding too much, they don't like it and they'll stop breeding. So when they feel like they're safe and nobody's disturbing their environment, they're just being fed and they have the nice moisture and they have a paper on top so they can eat that. They go to town. I mean, did you see the other day all the cocoons that I had? That was from one of the European nightcrawler bins. So I took all those cocoons and I put them in the nursery and they're over there having fun now. So, but they still haven't hatched. Aw, thank you, Jennifer. She visits my garden. We swap tomatoes and things. She sees me filming out there sometimes, so maybe she'll come. She knows that I'm crazy about Bigfoot. So when I do Bigfoot calls in my backyard, she hears me. What do I do with the castings? I sell them. When I don't sell them, like I just use it for my own garden and my compost tea. But yeah, I sell the castings. You could go on my website and I have it up for sale there. And my castings are pure. I don't put any fillers in it or mix anything into it. I know I've heard, I'm not going to say who they are, farmers that do that. And I don't think it's right because they advertise it like it's pure and it's really not. And I'm like, so, but I won't do that. My castings are pure and they're really black because I feed leaves, and when you feed leaves, the castings they just turn out different. So yeah. How often do I harvest? The breeder bins, I harvest them about every 21 to 27 days. It depends on how the sales are going. And these things back here, I I came up with a different way to rotate them. I tried it the way I did it the last time, but there's no right or wrong way to do these bins. You just have to find what works for you. And the way that I came up with it works for me, and it helps to spread my harvestings apart. So, but we're going to add to these. And then the wall here behind me, I showed you in my other video, we're going to add to this one. So, but no, as long as you stay on top of your worms and it's the maintenance is really nothing. It's no big deal. The hardest part for me and what takes me the longest is fulfilling the orders and going on pirate ship because I ship on pirate ship and then doing all that. So I look in the morning, I look to see what orders I have, and then I come in and I do all the work part about it, and then I go back and I do all the paperwork and everything. So yeah. Um I've been doing this for years, but this is like the first time I'm doing it like on a commercial level. Even though I don't really consider it a commercial level because I'm like home, it's a home business, but I'm just starting out. So, um, but yeah, my first red wigglers in Texas, I had to give them away before moving here, and I was so sad. And they were the biggest red wigglers ever. I got them from a little old man that lived in Conroe, Texas, and he's retired now and he doesn't do it anymore. But those were the biggest worms I have ever seen. My castings, I store them in a container with a lid. It's not completely airtight, but it still retains its moisture. And I just open it and scoop it out and put it in my bag when I'm gonna sell some, and then I I reclose it again. And I've had it. I've been doing that for years. It's never gone bad or anything. You're helping a guy write a book. That's good. That's good information. I've read a lot of books on composting and worm composting. Like what's that popular one? Worms Eat My Garbage. That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm reading some of your questions here. So, do you all want to find out who won the worm giveaway? So, what I did was I looked at all the comments, and since it's my 20th year anniversary, I counted number 20 on the comment list. So, the winner is his name is Bruce Mills. He's number 20, and he likes the red wigglers. So, Bruce Mills, if you're watching, you have 2 days to contact me. So, today is Saturday. You have until Monday evening. If I don't hear from you, then I'm going to move on to the next person. Okay? So, congratulations. And he wants red wigglers. So, oh, Alabama jumpers. Okay. We go back and forth with that one. So I've had people say that they're good, and I've had people say that they're bad. A lot of people say that they're an invasive species. I do have them in my garden because I've seen them, and they're a big worm. They have a huge catellum, but what freaks me out about them is that they slither away like a snake. I don't like that. But I have a friend named Paulie, and I don't know if he's watching here. He's a worm expert. He wrote a book on worms, and he says they're fine. I think they're also called leaf litter worms because he says if you put a pile of leaves, dry leaves on like concrete, and you keep it moist or you just like leave it there, they come and they come onto the concrete, believe it or not, and they'll eat those leaves, and they are huge. People call them Alabama jumpers. A lot of people like them because they're really big and they're good for fishing. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know if they're good or bad. I know I have them. I've seen them. They haven't bothered anything. Um, People say that they'll eat all the leaves in your garden and they'll destroy your dirt. But again, I don't know. They haven't done it to my garden. So, and I know people sell them. I see them online all the time. Yeah, see the leaf litter destroyers. Yeah, people sell them. People sell them because of their size. But yeah, they slither away like worms. I don't like them. Like snakes. And the first time it did that, I picked it up because naturally I see a worm and there I go, and that thing slithered like a snake. Man, I threw it. Oh, so you find them in your flower? Yeah, yeah. How do they behave in your soil, worm weirdo? Do they destroy or not? Because when I find them in my garden, they're always by the compost pile. Um, Not the worm barrel. They go on the edge of the worm barrel, but my worm barrel it has holes on the bottom and it sits on the ground, and they can go in through there if they want to. I don't know if they have, but they're always by my compost pile. I've never seen them like on the other side of the garden or anything. So, no, I don't sell Alabama jumpers. I don't raise them. And I don't know if I'll ever sell them because I think because they say they're an invasive species, I don't want to ship them into a state that is probably not allowed to have them. But if you want to raise them and you can sell them locally to fishermen, but I don't know about that. No, I don't sell them. I have the red wigglers, the European nightcrawlers, and the African nightcrawlers. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue to sell the African nightcrawlers long term. They're very delicate. And they're big worms and they're beautiful, and but honestly, there's not a huge market for them. And now I'm raising um, the swamp worm, the Louisiana swamp worms. So they seem to like the loose soil. They're also on the top. We see them on the sidewalks. Really, really that big? Wow. I find like regular night crawlers on the soil or the on the concrete when it rains, but I've never seen those Alabama jumpers on the concrete. But in the garden, yeah. They love the compost pile because I use a lot of straw and I always find them underneath the rotten straw. So when you lay straw down, if you leave it there for a while, excuse me, you're going to see them. Jumpers haven't gotten to my area, pine trees. Oh, hopefully they won't if they're going to be destroying things, you know. You can. But you know, all worms, they live in harmony together. A lot of people have an issue with blue worms being mixed with the red wigglers. I don't know why blue worms got such a bad reputation. They're amazing worms. I love them. They're awesome. And they live in harmony with the other worms. They're just a little on the hyper side, but they're not a boring worm. They move a lot. Red wigglers are like they're more like chill, you know. The blues are like yay. And if you raise them right and their conditions in their bin are ideal, they're not going to crawl on you. People come up with these wild stories about them. I don't know. I don't know if I have blues mixed in with my reds. Honestly, I haven't seen any, but I can never guarantee 100%. But they're really good worms. I know people that raise only blue worms alone. They don't want anything else because they have huge appetites and they're amazing composting worms, and people buy them for that. Yeah. Yeah, the blue worms, they have a tremendous composting ability. And they look like a red wiggler. They look like the red wiggler, but their clitellum is flat and they're like a little long and skinnier. The red wiggler is a little shorter, clitellum is a little bulgy and a little chunkier. For those of you who are new, if you don't know what the clitellum is, it's that band that you see around the worm. And that band is actually what they use to breed. I told you I caught a few the other day, but I had caught some the moment they were separating, and that was the weirdest thing I have ever seen. It was funny. Are you sure the basement's too cold? Because right now, my basement's at 65 in here. And I have the African night crawlers over there, and they're fine. Now, if it ever hits like 55 down here, then I'm in trouble. So, what temperature is your basement? Worm weirdo. Yeah, Michael, your blues eat all the scraps. They really do. They're good eaters. I think we should bring the reputation of the blue worms back. Yeah, see, they're in a mix with reds. That's fine. They're like friends. They'll hang out together. So the red wigglers and the blue worms together, the ability to compost is incredible. Canadian night crawlers handle the cold. Yeah, they are. Yeah, I can't raise Canadian night crawlers because honestly, you need like a refrigerator, and I don't have the space for that. Yeah, if your basement drops to 50, I wouldn't do the African night crawlers unless you're willing to like put a space heater in your basement and have it on all the time, at least through the winter. But I don't know if you want to go through all that trouble. If you want African night crawlers, I would keep them upstairs in your house. I have worms in my kitchen. It's a it's one of the new frog composters. It's a tower and it's purple. It's very I think it's attractive because it's a cute color. It's not the classic, green. Um, but I've had African night crawlers in my kitchen too. One day though, I put a bin on top of the vent on the ground, and boy, that was a mistake. Thank God I looked at them because the heat was so much coming out of the vent on the floor that it dried my bin up and I almost lost them, but I didn't. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, if you want to warm up your bin, now you can do this, but don't mix it into the bedding. If you put some rice on the surface, rice when it ferments, it rots, it creates heat and it will heat up your bin. But don't mix it in. I did that one day and it was the biggest mistake. My bin got so hot, I had to lift up the tower trays and put sticks in between to get air, and I had to mix the bedding like every 5 minutes. It was horrible. But yeah, rice will do it. When I raised worms in my garage one time, it was 30 degrees in there, and I thought, man, they're going to die for sure. So I put rice on the surface and it would warm up and keep it warm. And those were red wigglers and they survived. Yeah, Uncle Jim's worm farm, he's a very nice man. He's in Pennsylvania. Years and years and years ago, he had pure red wigglers. I mean, we're talking years ago. And then something happened with, I heard, another worm farmer in the eastern part of the country started buying worms from another supplier that had blues mixed in. And that person started using those worms to resell. And that's how the blue worm population, I think, got mixed in and just got everywhere, and everyone freaked out. This is what I heard. I don't know. I can see it. I can see it being true. So Uncle Jim's does have blue worms in his red wigglers, but honestly, I don't see a problem with it. I really don't. I don't. Aw, my granddaughter found part of her birthday gift that I mailed her. Her birthday's in like 2 days and she found them. I'll have to call her later. So yeah. Uncle Jim's, I mean, he's in Pennsylvania. He has winters. He must have them in windrows, like inside a barn or something. Because there are people that grow worms in windrows outside in the open, like I'm going to do. And there are some that build those windrows inside giant barns just for temperature control and rain control. That's a big investment. Yeah. Yeah, when I feed my worms like scraps, I don't put the scraps in the entire bin because if they ever want to get away from it, then they have nowhere to go. And then you might see them crawl out. I mean, poor things, they got to make a choice. So I'll either if I put it in the middle of the bin, they can go all around, or if I put it on the left side, you can go around. But mark with something like a coffee filter or something on the surface where you put the food last, because sometimes I have so many bins that I can't remember where I put them. Yes, Rob Bob in Australia. I actually built my outdoor worm bin, the barrel, from one of his. He built it, so I showed it to Joe, and Joe built it for me. But it was Rob Bob's design. Another thing that I keep in here are these bottles are the coffee creamers, and Joe drilled some holes on top, and I fill them with water, and you can go like that into all your worm bins. It's also a way to upcycle, these things and not throw them away. See the little holes. What did you think about the Frabil bedding? This stuff. It's very fluffy, and I could tell it's paper. It has little colors of paper in it, but it feels like dryer lint. But I'm not 100% sold on it yet. I don't know. We're gonna just keep testing it and see what happens. But I'm not sure. We'll see. So far, so good with the Louisiana worms with that. So yeah, Rob Bob, he's been on YouTube for years. We're talking years. I built that barrel out there. We put it in there about 12 to 13 years ago. And what it is a blue barrel. We drilled holes at the bottom and we put that on the ground. And then Joe cut a hole at the top and he put like a metal band with I don't know what you call those things, ribbits, or I don't know, with a handle. And I add bedding in there and all my kitchen scraps, and the worms through the years have just, they come and go naturally. And I notice that in the winter they disappear, and in the spring they'll come back, and then I know the cocoons are going to hatch, and yeah, I agree. I think I'm going to mix some peat moss into it because I didn't like it clumping up like that, and it like stuck to my hands and everything. Even though the directions say that to use it alone like that, but sometimes you just gotta do what you think is best for your worms. Not everyone's gonna give you the right information. Like I've heard some crazy stuff online. There was a lady one time that she told me that when her worms get cold, she puts boiling water on them. I'm like, really? You're cooking them. You're gonna kill them. I've heard a lot of crazy things through the years with worms. Imagine that boiling water. Poor things. She should have sent them to me. I would have repaired them. Yeah, I've heard crazy stuff. I put also dead animals in my bin outside because it's outside and they compost everything, like a dead rabbit. I actually found on Jennifer's driveway. So my daughter and I went out there with a shovel and a lantern in the middle of the night, and we got the dead rabbit and we put it in the worm bin, and it disappeared. The worms ate it. I thought we were going to get some kind of bone or skull, and it did just disappear. Devoured. So you guys want to see my European night crawlers over here? Let's see if I could unhook my phone here. So these are the Euros, or at least some of them. So before I bring the Euros, what did you think of my grinder situation? Wasn't that something else? Now, I've ground other things in it, and that has never happened, but it's that, I don't know, it was that grit. It just turned into a white cloud of like, oh my gosh. So I know you guys have given me a lot of ideas, so I'm going to see what I'm going to come up with because it's an amazing machine. It is. And I want to use that kind of grit because I know it's good for the worms. So I got to come up with a plan because, gosh, that was something else. That was an adventure and a half. So here they are. Let's see. I'm going to just have to leave them here. Let me see if I can just bring you over like I did the last time. So, all right. You all are still there. Okay. So here are the Euros. See, I use dried leaves on the surface, but I moisten them and I crumble them up. If you put the leaves whole, I notice that they take forever to break. So here are some of them. These are big worms. Some of them are still young, though. They do get bigger than this. I've had a lot bigger than this. But, they're doing okay. So you see their bedding is it's wet, but you see how it clumps? That's the perfect moisture for them. And, they really don't like me doing this, but I'm just to show you. And if you notice the Euro, they have a yellow tail, kind of like the red wiggler. See, a little yellow tail. So here they are. They're pretty worms, good looking worms. So Bruce will be getting some of these. And what I do is when I harvest, I pick them out. one by one because they're just easy to grab because they're so big. And then I'll put them through the sifter, and then I pack them up, and there they go. So that's why, I sell them as bed run because you get different sizes. Some are bigger, some are like this, You never know what you're gonna find when I mix it up, but I know that they're all European nightcrawlers. But they're doing very well. They're not the most exciting worm to raise, though, I will tell you that. Sometimes I find them a little boring. Because they're not as active as some of the others. They're like a little more chill than the red wigglers. But they're a good fishing worm. And a lot of fishermen prefer them because they can withstand the water temperature. They say that they wiggle more under the water. And I know I love them too. They'll get there. They're just still young right now. It takes them a bit. I feed them sometimes to make them fat, chicken starter crumbles, but I don't do that at every feeding because it's very high in protein. So maybe once a week, maybe. And I don't give a whole lot. There's some people that had fed them, not these guys, fed their own worms every day, chicken crumbles, and then they got protein poisoning. So worm farming is like everything else. You have to have balance. Do you want to know another little secret to give to keep the fruit flies and like the little flying things away? Have you heard of mosquito dunks? Yes, you can put mosquito dunks in your worm bins. Now, you don't take the whole mosquito dunk and put it in there. You have to grind it into a powder. And then you put like 1/8 of a teaspoon in the bin. And it keeps the flying insects down. And it doesn't hurt them. And it doesn't hurt wildlife or, people or birds or anything. It just hurts the larvae of mosquitoes and other flying bugs like that are just nasty. So that's a little worm farming trick that you can do. Because I know that sometimes fruit flies will happen. It just will. It happens to everybody. You grind up your mosquito dunks too? Yeah. Yeah, I never knew that. Another worm farmer is taught me that. I have found black soldier flies in my outdoor bin, and when I raised worms in my garage, I had black soldier flies in there. I don't like them. They're gross to me. They look like just a giant, I don't know, a giant maggot. But I will tell you, black soldier flies will compost very well. They work in harmony with the worms when they are not in excessive amounts. When they are excessive amounts and they can overpopulate one of your worm bins, they'll heat up that bin and they'll take over. So when I have found black soldier flies in my bins in the garage, I pick them out. And if you have chickens or something, feed them to your chickens. Your chickens will love them. I just throw them out. Yeah, they can heat up a bin really, really fast. And when I find them, I find them in groups. Like there won't be one here, one here. They'll like all be together. So that's good. Nematodes, yeah. I know people that use them. One year I bought ladybugs, and they came in a net, and we let them out, and you have to let them out at nighttime. And we had these little insects on the plants, and they ate everything. They took care of them. They were gone. It was so cool to watch them. I don't know if it's the same thing as mosquito bits. I know that the mosquito dunks are okay to use with worms, so that's what I use. There's another lady on here. She uses Dickens Garden, Dickens Garden or Dickens Worm Farm. She uses them too. And she puts about the same amount I do. It's about an eighth of a teaspoon, just a little bit. And it really does help. Is it gonna always be perfect? No. But it does help. Because when you have fruit flies, it can get out of control really fast. And it is so gross. But sometimes it happens. Worm farming is not about being perfect or trying to make it perfect. It's just not going to happen. It's something that you should enjoy, and you get amazing fertilizer out of it, castings. That's natural. So these guys are going to eat bananas and some greens tonight. Hi, Tammy. How are you? We survived the ice storm here. So I'm hoping that by Monday, I think the temperatures are going to hit here like 40. I'm going to be able to make it to the post office to ship those worms. Yeah. I get a lot of really nice comments of people saying that they like my worms because I take such good care of them, and I do. I love them. I love all my worms. I mean, if they're going to be here, they're going to be treated well, and I'm going to take care of them. I don't know. I don't know anything about the black soldier flies as far as their diet or anything. I know that they compost a lot. They come in numbers when you let them get out of control, and they will heat up a worm bin. Oh, you're getting more snow. I hope that was for us the last of the snow, because it's pretty. I like it, but it just interferes with everything, and it's hard. Oh, you like the Louisiana swamp worms? I love them. And when you look at them up close, they look different than the red wigglers, even though they're related. They're darker in color. They're like a red, and then their clitellum is bulgy like a red wiggler. But you know how the red wigglers, sometimes they're called tiger worms because they got these little stripes. These guys don't have them, and they're very active. They're not like the European nightcrawlers that are more like lazy. They're very active. African nightcrawlers, when they get nice and warm and their environment is warm, they're active too. I've seen them like I pick them up and they just go all crazy. But you have to be careful with the African nightcrawlers. If you mess with them too much and you pick them up, they'll drop their tails. Like their tail will fall off. No, different worms, they don't have different diets. All the worms eat the same thing. Kitchen scraps, chow. Now, the different castings are what you feed them. Like when I feed paper only, my castings come out very light in color, and you can actually see the little paper in the casting. It's strange. And then when I feed dried leaves, the castings turn out really black. So think about nature. What they would eat out in nature is what they can eat. Like I have fed my worms straw from outside. They love straw. They love leaves. Um, Anything that's natural, they'll eat. Just don't put, like, if you have a salad with salad dressing on it, don't go putting that in your worm bin. But like the greens I have here, we didn't use them and they went bad, and there's nothing in here, so I can feed them. I can feed the worms that. So if I had salad dressing or salt, I wouldn't feed it. No, I don't find my castings from the babies are softer. What I do find is the moisture level is different. When the castings are less it has less moisture, to me they feel softer. And when they have more water, they feel, I don't know, they feel different, and the clumps different. Um, what do you guys think about wet castings or dry? That's also been a debate for years. Where's that bag? There's a famous company. I don't know where it is. I think it's called Verma something. They send me sample bags. So I thought I was going to get a little sample bag. They sent me a bag this big so I could test it out. And it's castings, but their casting is dry. It's a powder. And they say that when the castings are dry like that, when you wet the castings, it like brings them back to life. It rejuvenates them. And I've had other worm farmers tell me the same. And then I have other worm farmers telling me that you have to keep it moist. Then when the castings dry out, everything dies. So I don't know. That's a debate, you know. But that company, you know, they're a big company and they sell it dry. And I used it and it worked well with my plants. So I don't know. I keep mine in that container with the lid. And when I pack it up, I put it in sandbags. And you know, it dries out a little bit, but it's fine. It's fine. I use it myself too. I didn't know if Heather was going to come on tonight. I wanted to show her my shirt. Heather sent me a shirt. She's a subscriber and she watches. She sent me a shirt. She's so sweet. See, look. I'll show it to you. It's so cute. Look at that. Isn't that adorable? I have a P.O. box. So if you guys want to send me something, seeds, a letter, anything, I'll put it in the description. She called it Happy Mail. I love getting Happy Mail. Yes, they are. Those little kids, Will and Alyssa, they tried it too. They are so cute. I love them. And I like how they talk together in harmony and their dad is doing such a good job with them. You like my shirt? Yeah, I don't know if they use the food though, the Frabils Fat and Sassy. I know I've seen them use the bedding, which I told you I'm not sold on this yet. I don't know. And the bedding is it just feels like a giant diaper. It's just I don't know. It's like paper, but it looks like dryer lint, but you can tell it's paper because you see it has little papers mixed in. So it's a little bag, but it seems to grow. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm gonna keep giving it to the Louisiana swampworms, and I'm gonna keep an eye on them. And if I see that they don't like it, I'll take it out immediately. But so far, they're eating the food. I just fed them that yesterday, and I didn't think they were gonna move into them so fast, and they did. You think they need moisture? I don't know. That's a debate. A lot of people say yeah, a lot of people say no. I guess you'll have to try both. You'll have to get some castings and let them dry out completely. And then you'll have to keep some moist. And in the summer, give some of the dry to a plant and give some of the wet to a plant and just see what happens. See what happens. Yeah, paper pulp. Yeah, that's what it is. But it's so soft that it created like dust. And when I wet it, it clumped up and it was sticking to my hands. And I just wasn't a fan of that. But I am going to take your suggestion and I'm going to mix it in with peat moss. And then we're going to see how it behaves then. But so far, you know, I saw the Louisiana swampworms move into it yesterday and they've been eating the food. So now, I can never buy that in huge quantities for all these things. It would be too expensive. But, you know, I like to do my experiments and I like to try different things. And I just happen to see that and I'm like, oh, I saw those two little kids using them. They're so cute. So I had to get it. I got it on Amazon. It wasn't a lot of money. You all see the videos of my eBay adventures. I love getting stuff on eBay. I'm telling you. Do you remember the worms I got on eBay, the Alaskan ice worms? I don't know what happened to those worms, but they died. I don't know. And it was the way I received them was the strangest thing. They arrived in a PVC pipe with cloth on the ends of the pipe was this big and the man put cloth on the ends and they made it all the way from Alaska and they did ship from Alaska because I saw the postage. But I don't know what happened to those worms. He said they were used to being outside, so yeah, we have a local post office here that a lot of people will donate the newspaper when they're done reading it or they don't want it. And I come home with piles this big of newspaper that I put through my shredder, or I stuff the boxes with it when I ship worms. And you know, the leaves outside. I mean, the leaves here in the fall, it's incredible. So I take leaves and I fill big black garbage bags and I bring them in here for the winter and I feed my worms because they absolutely love it. It's nice to get free things because, you know, it's the purpose of raising worms for composting is so you can compost your stuff, you know, but sometimes we have to invest a little money in getting them things. I mean, you don't have to, but I like to. But yeah, they will eat all your junk mail and just everything. Toilet paper tubes, paper towel tubes. My African nightcrawlers love those toilet paper tubes. And I also think it's because in between the toilet paper tube, there's that glue. And they like that glue. Believe it or not, they eat that glue. Another thing worms like is sugar. They like sugar. I think that's why worms are crazy about pumpkin and watermelon. These things have a lot of moisture and they're like on the sweet side. So yeah, they definitely like sugar. Now don't go putting sugar in your bins. No, 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 we're not doing that. I did do an experiment at Halloween time where I took a pumpkin and I carved a face in it and I put it in the bin and I took some food coloring and I put it in some white sugar and I made the sugar red and I put it on the pumpkin and those worms went crazy. But I just sprinkled a little because I wanted to look like blood because it was Halloween. Yeah, they went crazy, those worms. So you cut down all your marigolds. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they call that chop and drop. Chop and drop. Where you put your thing out of the ground, your plant, you chop it and you just drop it right there. And it all decomposes. Yeah, I collect the egg cartons too. But there is one egg carton that I'm just not happy with. I don't know. It's cardboard, but there must be something in it because it doesn't break down like the other cardboard. And I noticed that some of it sometimes gets moldy and not in a way that I like. So I'm thinking that there's something in that cardboard that's just, and it's a certain type. When I have them again, I'm going to show you so you can see what kind it is and just tell me, you know, if it does the same thing for you. So you have right now 25 bus bins and 5 experiment bins. Okay. Reds and blues. What kind of experiments are you doing with them? Right now, I have on my porch from the fall, I have a little mini pumpkin out there, and obviously it's frozen. And I'm going to bring it in and I'm going to see which bin I'm going to give it to and see who eats it the fastest. Yeah, chop and drop is a good thing. The last time I did that, I can't remember if it was the European nightcrawlers or the red wigglers that devoured that pumpkin. I think it was the European nightcrawlers, and the pumpkin molded and turned white on the outside. And I had never seen that, and I wasn't even sure if I did the right thing because I didn't know if I had enough worms in there to eat the pumpkin, but I did, and yeah, that pumpkin disappeared. Yeah, one year I put an old T-shirt. I wet it and I put it on the surface of my bin and I used it kind of like burlap and they ate it, especially the European nightcrawlers. Did you all see the video of when I put my my cloth maxi pads in the bin? Yeah, I got a lot of crazy questions about that one. But anyway, the washable maxi pads are made of cotton, and the European nightcrawlers ate the outside of it first, and then the wool inside, because the inside's made of wool, They ate that last. I don't know why, but they love it. They loved it. They love cotton. They love fabric. Diet Coke. My neighbor made us dinner and she bought dinner over before I came down here. So I ate and it was really good. She made some Puerto Rican food. Love it. Absolutely delicious. Yeah, your old tea towels are good to use. And it's a good way to upcycle these things and just you don't have to send them to the garbage or, put them on your worm bins. It also helps to keep the worm bin moist and, at nice temperature. Good morning. Good morning. You must be on the other the world. I have not put peanut butter in my bins, but I have put canned pumpkin, like canned pumpkin puree. I did that on the surface one day and they loved it. Have you put peanut butter in your bins? What happens? Do they eat it? Do they get stuck? I have not put peanut butter, but um, worms will eat the peanut shells. When you eat peanuts, you know how you can break up the shell? Break them up and put them in a bowl and then give it to them. Oh, you're gonna try it? That's gonna be an experiment. If I were you, I would do like a tablespoon or a teaspoon. I wouldn't do any more than that just in case. You never know. Are you gonna mix it in or put it on the surface? I would put it on the surface and see if they eat it from underneath. I compost not dairy, but I compost meat outside in my garden. I put it in my worm bin. Because I live in a forest and we find dead animals around here sometimes. And I take them with a shovel and I put them in my worm bin. And, that's meat. And they eat the fur, they eat everything. They eat everything. Some people put dairy and they put everything in their outdoor compost bins, but the thing about that is that you might attract like rodents and things. When I put the animals that die in my worm bin outside the barrel, it's sealed, so they nothing can get in. But yeah, oil is not good. Salt is not good. Worm weirdo says that the peanut butter might not be good. Maybe because it has peanut oil in it. Yeah, I would try it on one of the small bins and I would do like maybe a teaspoon on the surface just to see. And if something happens, you can always just take it out. Take it all. It's really. Hi, Heather. I'm wearing your shirt. Here it is. Here it is. I absolutely love it. I think I've showed it to everyone 3 times already. So we've been talking about worms, of course, all kinds. And I have my Euros here next to me. So did I ever tell you how I actually started like worm farming? So when I lived in Texas, this was 20 years ago, my youngest daughter was born. And of course, I wanted to do everything organic. And she was our youngest child. And because I had a yard now and dirt and I could plant. So my birthday is in February. My birthday is February 23rd. My mom was visiting. And my mom, I didn't grow up poor. And my mother spoiled me rotten. So did my dad. And they bought me everything I wanted. I was a brat. Thank God I've outgrown all that. But anyway, she wanted to buy me a Gucci purse or a Versace purse or whatever. I wanted overalls. I wanted overalls to go work in the garden and a straw hats. And Texas it was 100 degrees. So she's like, let's go pick out your Gucci purse. And I said, well, let's talk about that. So I had already found the worm farmer in Conroe, Texas, and I wanted his worms. And I wanted, a worm factory. And there was another lady on YouTube that I learned from. Her name is Christy. Um, I forgot now. Christy something. Christy Ruffner. She doesn't make videos anymore. But anyway, I learned a lot from her. And she was selling them. So I told my mom, instead of the Gucci purse, I want worms and I want a worm farm. I thought that woman was going to fall out of her chair. She's like, "Oh my gosh, why do you have to be so weird? Why do you like?" I'm like, "Oh, well, I want to do it." I started doing my usual, "Oh, please." So anyway, she got them for me. And that's how my worm farming adventure started. Turned down Mr. Gucci purse. I didn't want no purse. I wanted overalls. Yeah, my worm barrel, blue worm barrel in my garden is actually it's not buried. It sits on the ground, but when Joe put it out there for me, he dug out the ground a little bit and he put the barrel to sit in the ground. And the worms, they come and go naturally. They've been doing that for years. I'll put kitchen scraps out there all summer and all fall. And I see them coming and going. And then I scoop out all the castings, put it in my garden. And it's like a cycle. I just start that all over again. In the winter, they disappear. I don't see them, but I know they've left cocoons behind. So when spring comes, um, everything warms up, and then I start seeing the worms again, and I start seeing little ones. So I know all those cocoons have hatched. And this is a cycle that's happened for like 13 years now. I lived near Spring, um, in Cypress, Texas. I lived in a big subdivision called Fairfield. I don't know if you've heard of it. And Conroe, yeah, was north of us, and there was a worm farmer there, and the biggest Fred Wigglers I've ever gotten were from him. But he's retired. I mean, he was an older guy then. By now, forget it. I know that he's retired. I've heard that. But those were the biggest Red Wigglers I ever had. They were monsters. I don't know what he gave them. He must have raised them outside, or which in Texas it's hard because my biggest challenge in Texas with gardening was the fire ants. Yep. Yeah, I had a big house in Fairfield, and I don't ever want a big house like that again. It took forever to clean. I couldn't stand it. But I owned a pet sitting company down there called the Dog Lady because people couldn't say my name because I have a strange name, so they just called me the Dog Lady. Oh yeah, that Dog Lady. So I just became the Dog Lady. And I would go from house to house taking care of people's dogs and cats and some exotic animals while they were working in downtown Houston because they didn't want to come home on Friday nights. So I would do that. And that was the funnest job I ever had. I worked for a guy who worked for the FBI down there, and I never even met him. He found me by word of mouth. I go to his house, take care of his dog, and leave. I swear he probably had cameras watching me. I never met him. There was this lady who said, "Come, I need you to take care of my cat." I'm like, "Okay." I go in. These weren't no little cats. They were these big things like this. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, those are not cats, those are lions." Yeah, they were huge, but they were so cute. And one day I got trapped by a bull. I went to this lady's farm to take care of her chihuahua, and the bull wouldn't let me out. Yeah, everything is bigger in Texas. Let me tell you, the biggest bugs I've ever seen are in Texas. But the fire ants were horrible. I don't know how people worm farm out there with the fire ants. I know fire ants don't like water, so maybe they just keep their beds really, really moist to keep them away. But they are a big problem. And if you've never been bitten by a fire ant, oh, it is not fun. It is not fun. We have a lot of deer around here. Around here, we have deer, we have wild turkeys that I see them running around. We have raccoons, we have fox. We do have coyotes, which right now we're in coyote season, and you could hear them in the back of my property just going all crazy out there. They're very dangerous. They will kill your dogs, they'll kill your chickens, they'll come after you, but usually they stay away. But right now they're in breeding season, so they get a little crazy. Molasses kills fire ants? I never knew that. Wow. No, rock dust won't be hurtful to your worms. It's like a grit. That's what happened with this grinder of mine. I tried to grind that oyster shell stuff. Oh my gosh, you should see what it did. I don't know if you watched that video, but it was an adventure. Look at this. This thing. It's a huge machine. But the cloud that it created, I was like, oh my gosh. But I do have a plan. So we're going to try. I'm going to try my plan. I'm going to take some of your ideas and we're going to blend them all together and we're going to see what's going to happen. Because, I really like that grit for the worms. So I want to really use it for them. And, I think it'll help. Now, when I make my own chow, I don't grind it into like a fine powder. I don't like it that way. I grind it to where it's a powder, but it's still like a little chunky. Let me see. I have some here. Let me see. So you see, look, this is my grit. It's a powder, but it still has like pieces in it. It's not 100% ground. And I don't know why, but they seem to like it like this more. At least my worms. I don't know why. So once I figure this out, then I'm going to make my personal recipe and I'm going to sell it on my website. And I'll let you all know. Hi. Urban girl gardening and lifestyle. Hey, has gardening with Barchuck been on? I haven't seen him. His name's Rick. He started worm farming too. I think right now he's just raising red wigglers though. So you guys have any other questions? I know when I go live, we talk about so many different things. But, I like talking and I want you guys to learn from my mistakes. But I do still make mistakes. I've done a few doozies. Yeah, I love his channel too. He's a very, very nice person. I've talked to him like privately. He's become a friend. Very nice. I still can't figure out how we're going to get both of us on the screen, but I don't know. I know there's a way to do it, but we'll figure it out. So Heather, do you still live in Texas? We've been living here in Indiana like 12, 13 years now. I like it here more because I have the change of the seasons. Texas was just so hot all the time, and I hate the heat. I did grow incredible vegetables down there, though. I will say I had onions the size of softballs. Like, yeah. Seabrook, yeah. Nice. Yeah, 30 minutes from Galveston. I used to go there to the Rainforest Cafe restaurant. Loved it. Antonio, you don't think worms hate like molasses? Have you tried molasses? I would love to go to Ontario. Peggy wants me to come to Florida. She says that she'll put me in her spare room. If I ever do travel to these states again, and I will let you know. I'll let you know and we'll meet. And then we'll film a video. Yeah. I think they like molasses, but I don't know. And I use just kitchen molasses. There's also another type of molasses. It's gardening molasses. Now, I have put gardening molasses in my compost tea when I make it with the bubbler, but Antonio, I'm not sure which molasses you're talking about. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure which molasses you're talking about. Is it the one that you can eat in the kitchen, like make sweets out of it, or is it the gardening one? Because they're two different things. Hello. Good night. I'm glad you said hi. Dehydrated molasses? Where do you get that? Michael says he uses dehydrated molasses. Well, remember I told you that worms, they like sugar, and molasses is a type of sugar. At least the one that, you can get for your kitchen. I don't know about the gardening one. I've never eaten it because I don't think you can eat that one. So, right. Yeah, you use a very little. And do you guys know the recipe for molasses spray for your worms? So I believe you take a spray bottle, and I believe it's 3 parts water to 1 part molasses, and you mix it, and it becomes like molasses water. And if you spray it on the surface of your bins, they say they like it because I know worms like sugar because I've done the experiments. And they say it gives them microbes, but I don't know. Antonio says no. Maybe he has a different type of molasses. I'm not sure. Yeah, they just built a Starbucks near us here. I mean, I have to go to another town. But every time I go, they're out of the coffee grinds, and they only do it through the spring and summer. So, I used to get it from work, but I don't work in the jail anymore, thank God. I don't know if you all knew, but for almost 4 years, I was a correctional cook in the jail. It was, that was wild. But I have a different job now outside of the worms because I like working outside the house. I just do. I'm a very social person, and I'm much happier now, less stress. Oh, it's not the food grade kind, the molasses. So you have the gardening kind, Michael. Okay. So the winner of the contest, we're gonna give him till Monday evening to respond, and if he doesn't, I'm gonna pick a number, and I'm just gonna pick the next person. The one who won is I have it written here. His name is Bruce Mills. He won Red Wigglers. He was number 20 on the comments. Since it was 20 years, I picked number 20. I counted down. So we'll see. We'll give him till Monday evening, and we'll see what happens there. Yeah, those great trays. I used to use the black mortar bins for concrete, and I still have one that I use for mixing purposes. But for me, they got too heavy, and I couldn't lift them. So my husband Joe got me these, and I don't know if they come in bundles of 2 or 3, but I believe he ordered them from Sam's Club, and you can have them delivered. And he just ordered a bunch of them, and then he got the shelves at I think it was Menards. So, but this wall in front of me is all it's going to become more bins. So, and I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to keep the African nightcrawlers or not. I don't know yet. Yeah, I use the mortar bin I have. I use it for sifting, or I use it when I'm going to make my seed starting mix, which you could get on my website, thegardenandwormlady.com. I use it for that because I have the space to actually mix my stuff. And my seed starting mix is the one I use on my own plants. Now, the castings that I have on the website, those are pure. I don't have any fillers or any crazy things mixed into it. I know farmers that do that, and it annoys the crap out of me because if they're going to sell it like that, say that it has, sand or whatever it is you're going to mix into it. Don't advertise it as pure when it's not pure. That's dishonest to me. So mine is 100% pure. And the reason I sell it pure is because I have so much of it. I use it in my own garden too, but I got to get rid of some of it. And you can make the best compost tea with worm castings. The way I do it is I put some in a muslin bag and I tie it to the edge of like a Home Depot bucket. And then I put it in there with water and I add some other things, of course, like gardening molasses is one of the things. And then I take the bubbler for a fish tank with the little tube and the motor. I got it at PetSmart. I think the whole thing cost me, I don't even know if it was $10. And the bubbler aerates it and keeps it going. You have the cement mixer. What's his name? The guy that owns Gaetano, the guy that owns Northeast Worms, he got a cement mixer to mix all his things. And he had a video of it, and he finally figured out how to use it because he had it like sticking up and wasn't sure. So he had to put it sideways and it mixed it. So he's doing that. Why I don't the African nightcrawlers, they're just so delicate to raise, and honestly there's not a big market for them. There really isn't. Like, I've had a few people buy them, but a lot of people are afraid of buying African nightcrawlers. I don't know why. Maybe because they're sensitive to cold. People think that they're going to die in their house with their air conditioning on. They're not. I mean, right now down here in the wormery, it's 65 degrees. I keep a thermometer down here just so I can make sure everything's okay. And they're doing fine. People want the red wigglers for their ability to compost, and people want the European nightcrawlers for their ability to compost and for fishing. But I got African nightcrawlers because I like to have different types of worms so I can use different types of worms and just compare them and just see how they are. They're amazing creatures. Everyone's a worm in here, but they all have different personalities and they behave different. And I just like that they're so diverse. Yeah, Ontario, Canada. Well, you could keep them indoors. If your house is nice and warm, they'll do fine. Just have them, if you buy them, get them in the summer. Unfortunately, I don't think I could ship worms to Canada. I know I definitely can't ship them to Hawaii. Hey,
I'm home.
hi.
I'm making pimento cheese.
Oh, my daughter's home. She's our youngest daughter. She's 20. She's the one that was born when I started worm farming. Her name is Izzy. So,
Hi.
but she's our youngest, so we don't have babies anymore. But Izzy is an excellent cook, and she makes a recipe made from pimento cheese that is amazing. So I'm glad that she knows how to cook because I don't like to cook all the time. So she'll do it when I don't feel like doing it. So anyway, if you want to give me a snack, I would love.
I'm gonna bring you a snack. Do you want chips with that?
Yeah.
Because I bought your favorite tortilla chips to go with the cheese.
Thank you.
Alrighty. I love you. I'll bring you that in like 10 minutes.
Okay. Aw. Isn't she a sweetheart? Yeah, she's 20. She's moved out and lived on her own, but she missed mom and dad and the house, so she moved back. And that's okay. I told her, you're not ready, it's okay. Just take it easy. She says she's single. She says she just wants to have fun now, and she's only 20, so she should. I'll tell her you said hello, LP. Your worms stay indoors? Yeah. Why am I lucky? My daughter? Aw. She's our fourth child. She's the youngest. I have another daughter. Her name's Laura. She's 23. And then we have twin boys. They're 31. They're men, and they have children, and I'm a grandma. I have 6 grandchildren. So yeah. One of my sons lives in Texas. He works out there, and the other one is in Georgia on a military base. And I knew he was going to be military, that boy. When he was about 8 years old. Hi, Adrian. I'm talking about my son, Adrian, but Adrian's here. He said that he was going to grow up and go to the jungles of Puerto Rico and hunt down the chupacabra. So I told my husband that that kid's he's gonna be military, and he is. He's been in the military since he was 18 years old, and he's 31 now. So we have 2 dogs. You all have seen Nina. Nina is my Chihuahua. She's a little special. I think she was inbred, or I don't know. When she looks at you, one of her eyes goes that way, and she's the strangest dog. We love her to death. She's not like a regular Chihuahua. She's very sweet, and she loves going to the vet, and she loves everything that dogs normally don't like. She loves cats. She loves everybody. So she's a little strange, but I love her to death. But she loves to go in my garden. She's figured out how to get in there. I'm like, yeah, I knew my son was going to be military. Yeah. We had those boys young, they're 31 now and I'm 50, so do the math. Um we had them young, but I'm glad that I was a young mom with them because they were 2 boys. So the energy level was extreme. I think if I would have had them older, I couldn't keep up. Yeah, Nina, oh gosh. The thing is, Nina goes in the garden and then she doesn't know how to come back out. So I have to go rescue her. Yeah, it's kind of like we grew up with the boys. But they were something else though. We didn't have our daughter Laura, my oldest daughter, until they were 7 because it was hard raising those boys. I love my sons, but I couldn't wait to have a daughter because I like makeup and nail polish and the hair, and I couldn't wait to have daughters. And my daughters and I, through the years, like I have a whole wall here of crafting supplies that we have done. We have done facial masks. We have done so many things. Our hair, oh gosh, the adventures with my hair. See, I don't color my hair with regular hair dye like everybody else. I use plants to color my hair. So my hair will sometimes come out light like this. Another day it'll come out with a hue of blue because the plant indigo has blue in it. It's it's an adventure. And if you grow sage in your garden, if you cut the sage leaves and you boil it and you make like a tea out of it, when you're showering, put that on your hair as the final rinse and don't rinse it out. It makes your hair really soft and it will not leave your hair sticky. Try it. You'll love it. Your sons live on their own. You have 4 grandchildren. Yeah, Izzy's our youngest. She's still at home and she's only 20. I think she's planning on going to nursing school. I'm not sure. I told her, take your time and decide. Don't rush into anything. And, but right now she just wants to have fun. She likes the 60s. She loves Robert Plant. She wears bell bottoms. She wears those little glasses like John Lennon, and she drives her smart car. So, and let's see. She drives her smart car with like giant rainbow flowers. So, why is this not charging? Let me see. Oh my gosh, I had the extent. No wonder it was so dark. I'm telling you, things I do. I had the extension cord turned off. I didn't know. Because the screen got dark and it now it gave me a warning. I'm like, what? So this sifter back here, I love it. It does a great job. It really does. and it really helps me out with harvesting. It's Cheryl built it. It's a lady that builds them, and she donated that one to me. And I promised her I'd make a video, and I did. And it's really helped my worm business take off because I can harvest it. Yeah, Izzy Izzy was born in 2002, and she thinks that she belongs in the 60s. Yeah. Yeah, worms can be mixed in with other worms. Red wigglers, a lot live with blue worms. I've had red wigglers live with European nightcrawlers. Now, I've never had red wigglers with the African nightcrawlers before, so who knows? Maybe that'll be another experiment. Thank you, Adrian. Our setup is it's nothing fancy, and I got all my bins behind me, and I keep the supplies up there. But we're gonna get more bins, and we're doing everything slowly. And my daughter Izzy just bought me a snack. They're saying hi to you, by the way.
Oh, really? Where are the
comments? Are over here.
Led Zeppelin is life. Correct, it is. I have a Led Zeppelin tattoo. Zeppelin's pretty good.
Yeah.
I have a lot of
I told them
tattoos.
you like Robert Plant.
Oh, I love Robert Plant. He's so talented. They don't make music like that anymore, so I just...
They don't. Thank
you. They comment such nice things.
Thank you.
So sweet. Alright, you got a drink?
Yep, thank you. Almost set up.
Alrighty, well, I'm going to clean the kitchen, so just come up when you're ready, okay?
You're awesome.
Thanks. Love you.
Love you.
Bye, guys.
She's so sweet. And the girl can cook. Thank God she can cook. You're a tad jelly. So the sifter here was donated by a lady named Cheryl. I believe in the video that I posted about this, there's a coupon code down there. So if you want to buy one, I think it's like 10% off she'll give you or something. But I love it. And it fits perfect on this mortar bin. See? It also fits perfect on the top of a wheelbarrow. So, and this is 1/4 inch. So I've been harvesting my worms with this, and it's made my life so much easier. I mean, it really has. The only problem now is I need something to separate cocoons from the castings. So I'm thinking about reinvesting in one, asking her to build me one with a smaller grid. But I'm waiting for, some of my profit to go up because my business is debt free. I did not take out a loan to start my business. I just did it all with money that we've saved. The banks will give me loans if I want them, but I don't want it. Yeah, the sifter, it really does an amazing job, and it sifts very smooth. Like it's not stiff at all. So see, it rolls very easily. And she's a mom, and she's a worm farmer, or was. I'm not sure if she still does it. And she did it so she could sift her worms. So yeah, genius idea. I mean, I don't know if I'm that handy. I don't think I could build that. I built some things, but sometimes I struggle. I have to eat the snack because my daughter made it. Pimento cheese. Delicious. So, and this is the monster grinder here that created the cloud. So it's heavy duty. So the other day when I tried to grind the grit, it was like a cloud came up. I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I have a plan for that, but it's really an incredible machine. I really like it. I got it on eBay, and now when I go on eBay to look for them, there's a lot of people are selling them. And you can look for one that has free shipping. The one I got, he was offering free shipping, so I got it because it's really heavy. I can imagine what it would cost to ship that. Yeah, you can find it. The grinding video was, I think, 2 videos ago, but this one was, I don't remember, a month or two ago. But I saw that for sale on eBay, and I contacted her, and she was kind enough to send it to me. And then, I told her I'll make a video about it, and then she offers that 10% coupon. So she's a nice lady, very nice lady. I've talked to her, privately. Um, it's still nice that there's nice people out there still that are caring. I will tell you, the worm business, commercial business, there's a lot of greed out there. And there's another worm farmer that I'm talking to, and we talk about this. There's a lot of greedy people that will lie to you, and it's just not right. It isn't. Like, they'll sell you worm castings that have things mixed into them when they advertise it as pure, and that's not right. Adiós, amiga. Siempre es un placer ser parte de tus conversaciones. Oh, Adrian, you speak Spanish, huh? God bless you too. Take care. Yeah, I'm fluent in Spanish. Spanish was actually my first language. I learned English when I went to school. But yeah, with the worm farming, um, I think that's how the blue worm got mixed in with the red wigglers, like nationwide, because of greed and lying. And there's nothing wrong with a blue worm mixed in with your red. It just happens. I will tell you though, there still are some worm farmers in this country that are very nice people and very honest. So just be careful who you buy from, and make sure that it's legit, and make sure you're getting what you want. Yeah. I have people contact me asking me if I could sell them only blues. Like, do I breed blues alone and can I sell them? And I'm like, I don't breed them. That's good, Adrian. I watch all your videos. I also watch you on Instagram. I watch everyone's worm videos. I comment sometimes on a few, but I can't comment on everybody because I just watch so many of you. But sometimes, like when I'm working in here, I'll put my TV on. Joe put a TV on the wall for me, and I'll watch your videos, and I'll just cycle through all of them. Yeah, I watch a lot of them. I watch more worm videos than any other video, but I do watch other things. Like, I don't know why, but I watched the video of a guy taking apart an engine one time. Don't ask me why. I just wanted to see how it was done. Now, I will never attempt that. Can you imagine what I would do? No. But yeah, I thought about a shop vac. I didn't think the oyster shells were going to do that, but it did. So I was like, psh, it was so funny. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, this whole area where the grinder is, I had to wipe everything down. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyway, I have a plan. I did make my chow though. And my chow, you know, it's not as powdery as other worm chows because I personally don't like it like that. I like it to have a couple of little pieces. I just I just noticed that my worms like it like that more. I don't know why. I find them like going underneath it. Oh, the oyster shells kills your coffee grinder. Yeah, I have a little handheld coffee grinder like this, and I used to crush oyster shells in it. But then I started grinding my eggshells in it, and I've had it for years. But that's only a little bit. I need something that. That's why I got this thing. I need something that'll grind a huge amount. Um, because I have so many to feed. And I don't feed them chow alone. I give my worms other things too. Like my European nightcrawlers here next to me, they're going to get the banana peels and they're going to get some greens tonight. And, I try to give them a diverse diet. When I have it, I just think it's good for them. I mean, I wouldn't want to eat the same thing every day. Yeah. Well, I have this on my laptop now. And I do the same thing when I watch live videos, I watch it on the TV and then I have my phone in front of me where I comment and get involved in the conversation. But right now I have my laptop here and I can see all your comments on the side here. So, and these European night crawlers, they're doing well. They're growing. They are growing. My daughter's snack is delicious. Isn't she gorgeous? When my kids were little, especially the girls, they all go through that phase when they're like 10 or 11. Oh, I'm so ugly. And I would say, I would say, I don't give birth to ugly children. And they were like, they'd look at me like they had to think about it. Now they're grown. 53 pounds between food, bedding, coffee, eggshells. Oh my gosh. Wow. Now you have like 25 bins, right? And some other bins on the side. When we expand in here, I don't know how many I'm actually going to have in here, but it's going to be a lot. Plus, my basement is a finished basement and it's big with different rooms. And I have other rooms in here that if I ever want to expand to, I can. But having them in here right now and having them contained, it makes my job easier. Because I can monitor everyone together. I can feed them all together. Like I have a system going that's like really fast. And we'll see though. We'll see what's going to happen when I build the outdoor windrows. That's going to be something. And if it doesn't succeed outside, I can use my windrows to plant them. But I mean, I say that because you never know what could happen. My goal is to get them outside, but you never know. Now I'm trying to decide which worm to raise outside, whether I'm going to do red wigglers or European night crawlers. I think I'm going to try. I'm thinking more European night crawlers, but I'm not sure yet. Definitely cannot raise African night crawlers out there. I want to thank all my new subscribers, by the way. I see a lot of new people coming on. My goal on YouTube is like everybody else. We want to all get to 1,000. So we can apply for monetization. That doesn't mean that you're going to get monetized. You just got to apply for it and hopefully they'll approve you. But I've been on YouTube so many years. Even before I started posting my own videos, I just learned so much from YouTube. Yeah, because you started a year and a half ago with only 250 reds because they reproduce like crazy. As long as your bin is an ideal ideal condition for them. Remember, you got to add lime if you use peat moss because it'll be acidic if you don't. And worms do not like acidic things. That's why I think some worms, like they don't like lemons and onions and garlic. Even though I have fed my worms like those things in very little moderation. Not my breeders, but like my tower worms. But what I don't like about feeding onions and garlic is even though I bury it, I can still smell it. And they will eat the lemon, but it takes them forever. And I don't put like a whole lemon. I just, if I used a piece, I would do it. But I think it's just not worth it. But my outdoor worm bin, the barrel, that gets anything. That's the no rule barrel. I put everything in there. Yeah, there's a lot of bad info out there for vermicomposting. You just, you got to learn from the ones that are right and put it all together and come up with your own plan. Absolutely. And there are still a few honest worm farmers out there. I know a few, but I know a lot that aren't. So I don't want to deal with them as far as business. They like the best pH for worms is a 7. You can have worms in pH from 6 to 8, but 7 is the ideal. It's the perfect one for them. And if you use peat moss, you got to add some lime in order to balance that, because peat moss is can be very acidic. Um, Recently, I purchased some coconut coir for my worms, because I noticed that they eat it faster. They like it, so I got some. You feed yours everything too? Yeah, there's a lot of bad info out there. Well, like when I first started 20 years ago, I thought that the leachate was okay to use, and it's really not. But the people I learned from, they would tell me, "Oh, that's tea coming out of there. That's tea." And I thought, "Well, it's tea." No, it's not. It's not good. If you have leachate in your worm bins indoors, your bins are too wet. You need to cut back on the moisture. And that stuff, just get rid of it. It's not good. It is toxic. Not good at all. Well, guys, it's 8:47. I'm going to keep enjoying my daughter's snack. And I'll be back next week. So I'm going to give the winner of the worm farm 2 days till Monday evening. And if he doesn't contact me, I'll pick someone else. Um, Subscribe if you haven't. Give me that thumbs up button. And you can contact me on my website, thegardenandwormlady.com. My email is on there. If you go on the front page and you go to the bottom, my email's on there and my phone number's on there. And people text me all the time questions. You can text me and I'll answer it. Just tell me who you are. And I'll wait for him to contact me there, and then we'll see. I had a great time, Tammy. I'm so glad you guys came. I try to let people know ahead of time when I'm coming on. That way we could get more people and get a good conversation going. This is how we learn. We learn from each other. And I really love it. And, I'm still learning. Yes, everyone share and give me a thumbs up. So I'll keep you guys updated on this grinder situation. And I'll let you know what happens with that. So it's always an adventure. My husband married me. I don't think he knew what he was in for. But we've been together a long time. The man knows me, and he helps me so much in here, you know, building things for me, getting things for me. Oh, you just emailed her? Okay. Tell her you got her contact from my video, so she knows who you are, and then you'll get your discount. So she's really sweet. All right, guys. Well, good night, everybody. And Heather, thank you for my shirt. I absolutely love it. Everyone loves it. And I love the color too. How cute the color suits me. Suits my skin tone. I love it. So I'll keep you guys posted on everything. And good. I'm glad you mentioned me. And we'll just keep on trucking here. And if you have any questions, just contact me. All right? Take care. Bye.